Bottled water. It's great, isn't it? Fresh, pristine mountain water delivered straight to your local store. Well, that's what the bottled water companies want us to think. The truth really isn't quite as glamorous as the label on the bottle shows. In fact, some of it you might find quite hard to believe. I'm taking a look at 6 reasons why we really shouldn't be hitting bottled water. Petrol and diesel may seem pretty expensive these days, but actually bottled water costs just as much. In fact, bottled water might burn a bigger hole in your wallet. A 500ml bottle of water costs around £1, whereas it costs only £1.40 for a litre of petrol. So actually you're paying more for water, a natural resource available to us for almost next to nothing, than you are to fill up your car's tank with petrol. What's even more shocking is that bottled water costs up to 2,000 times as much as tap water, and companies such as PepsiCo's Aquafina fill their bottles with filtered, public-sourced water. They do? There's tap water. Honest? So they're basically charging a lot of money for something just because it's been filtered and has a fancy label on it. In developed places, most of us have access to clean, safe tap water, so why pay more for water from a bottle? Anyway, tap water actually has stricter regulations than bottled water. We may have been drawn to bottled water because the manufacturers have us under the false illusion that it's better for us or that it's tastier, but actually what they're hiding is that the single-use plastic bottles they package their drinks in contain loads of chemicals. Bottles used to contain BPA, a harmful chemical compound that can have serious effects on our health. If too much is consumed, it can even cause cancer. Now, most bottled water companies are proud to announce that they are BPA-free, but the other chemicals contained in the bottles, if exposed to heat or to sunshine, can leach into the substance contained in the bottle. And no one really knows for sure what their effects are on our health. Eek! What do we think will happen when we recycle a bottle? Will it be made into a new bottle? Will it be made into another useful item in our lives? This is what the bottled water companies want us to think. The truth is far from it. Bottles that are recycled are usually downcycled, which basically means that they are made into something of less worth than they were before, like a carpet, for example. And that's only the bottles that are recycled, a maximum of 20% of the millions we consume in the UK every day. The rest, they end up in landfill, killing wildlife, littering the landscape, or pillaging ecosystems. So really, recycling is a minor solution to a problem that could just be avoided in the first place, or just a strategy to settle our conscience. You don't have to walk or drive far to see litter on roadsides, paths, waterways, or in our oceans. The majority, water bottles, the ones we use for a short amount of time before chucking in the bin. A lot of plastic bottles make their way into our oceans, where they break down into smaller and smaller pieces. And that is exactly what makes plastic bottles so bad. They never biodegrade. They just break down over hundreds of years until they become microplastics. These microplastics are ingested by fish, and the toxins present in them work their way up the food chain and eventually end up in us. Chemicals that mix up women's hormones and can even cause cancer. Bottle tops fill the stomachs of fledgling birds. Nice! Whales are full of discarded items. Lovely! This pollution and its effects on us and the wildlife is the evidence that this demand for plastic bottles has got to stop. Plastic doesn't biodegrade for a reason. That's because the materials used to make it are man-made and aren't natural, so plastic can't return to its original form. Oil is one of the components of plastic. You only need to fill up an average 50 centilitre bottle to a fifth of its capacity to see how much oil, a precious substance that countries war over, is used to make one single plastic bottle. And multiply that by the 25 million bottles used in the UK alone every day. It's hard to imagine that much oil is used just to fuel a demand that's not really necessary. Quenching our thirst for bottled water is also having an increasing effect on the environment. Plastic bottles are mostly circular, so up to as many as 52 more lorries are needed to transport 1 million bottles than just one needed to transport square ones. No, that's also true. No, it is. This contributes to air pollution and is a major factor in climate change. And that's just excluding the energy needed to manufacture the bottles in the first place. There are things that we can do to address this problem, and they aren't big changes. The only way to slow the demand for bottled water is to, well, stop drinking bottled water. It would do both us and the planet good to leave the bottle be and turn to more environmentally friendly options. Instead of buying a new single-use plastic bottle, fill a reusable one from the tap. Most shops sell reusable plastic bottles quite cheaply, so it doesn't take a lot of effort to purchase one. If the tap water in your area isn't safe to drink, or just doesn't taste very nice, companies such as Water2Go do bottles with a filter in the lid, so you can be sure that what you're drinking is perfectly safe. If you do want to buy water, some stores sell water in cartons, which is a more environmentally sound option than plastic bottled water. So bottled water isn't quite what we thought, even if the truth might be a little unbelievable. It costs a lot, isn't great for the environment, and isn't any better for you than tap water. Why choose bottled water when you can do your body, your wallet and the planet good by choosing more environmentally friendly options? Cheers!